Hello and welcome back. Today I have a question to start us off. When was the last time worrying solved your problems? I'll wait. Can you think of one specific instance where you worried yourself right into a solution? Me neither. Um, I think worry is our attempt at control in a situation where we feel like we don't have control or our outcome is unknown. We unconsciously just start to worry, and our mind just starts to do this dance where it just goes over all these possible scenarios. Not all of them, pretty much only the negative ones, the worst case ones. um all the different people involved and all the different reactions and opinions and judgments and outcomes, and never do we ever go for the best case scenario. Never do we think, what is the highest good that can possibly come from this? Not in our overthinking and not in our worry. So it's our own thoughts that actually disturb our peace. It's what's happening inside of our own minds that is actually making us upset. Because even if someone has done something that's hurt us or that's upset us, like, it's said and done. And it's our replaying and retelling and re-experiencing, reactivating the event by, venting about it, and by, continuing to talk about it and to respond to it. And this is something that I struggle with quite a bit. I still get activated. I still respond negatively when certain people come up, and it's very disappointing. I would much rather be able to take the high road, but my go-to reaction is just to reactivate and just commiserate and keep telling that story. And it doesn't serve me, and it doesn't solve anything. It doesn't change anything. And so back to the point I was making is, it's our mind, it's our own thoughts that are disturbing our peace. So it's not necessarily the things that are going on around us that are upsetting us or that are hurting us. Because those things, like, the past is gone. That's really not here anymore. And the only reason, or the only way that we can make it our current reality, is by keeping that current in our vibration, like in our speech and in our thoughts. And so if it's our own thoughts that disturb our peace, how do we stop them? Obviously, it's not just on purpose. Like, this is a subconscious thing. So how do we alter our subconscious mind? Like, do we have any recourse? Do we have any agency in what is happening in our automatic, thought process? And I believe that that's where meditation and mindfulness come in. Like, why do we meditate? Like, I've said before, it's not to reach necessarily some Zen-like state. It's, thoughts can come and go, but we don't react or respond to them. A thought comes and we may grasp onto it and then just let it flow by, almost like a cloud, almost like a thought bubble, that just comes into our reality. And once we notice that, we can come back to our breath, right? And we do this for a period of time. And then we see that, we have all of these thoughts, but they don't all require our attention. And we get a little bit better each time as a meditation practice grows, we get a little bit better at recognizing which thoughts we actually are going to grasp onto and dive into, and which ones we aren't. And it's still quite the process to not grasp onto the negative ones and to not, play that negative tape all the way through. But I feel like that's why we meditate. That's why we practice mindfulness, is we start asking questions. And I'm learning a lot about this in recovery Dharma, in the path out of suffering, right? So we use this recovery program. Throw these beauties on. We use this recovery program to apply Buddhist practices and principles. So we're not Buddhists, but we apply Buddhist practices and principles as a way to free ourselves from the suffering of addiction, right? So the Four Noble Truths are: there is suffering, there's a cause to suffering, there is an end to suffering, and there's a path that leads to the end of suffering. And so we're committing in Recovery Dharma to cultivating the path that leads to the end of suffering. And that is through the Eightfold Path. And so that's where the Eightfold Path is a set of instructions, a practice, and a way to investigate and be aware of the conditioned responses we cling to. So there are 8 factors in the path: wise understanding, wise intention, wise speech, wise action, wise livelihood, wise effort, wise mindfulness, and wise concentration. So, I mean, they're broken down, and they're layered through this recovery program. But I can tell you, coming from a place of, I was doing recovery like on a mission of just turning everything over. And what a beautiful gift it was to take the 12 steps and to turn everything over to God, and to develop that compassion for myself, and realize how loved and how, guided and held that I am. And then to introduce this next program to where it gives me agency. And there's something that I want to find in here that really clicks. We're choosing to trust in our own potential for wisdom and compassion for others and ourselves. So this program is giving you the agency to trust yourself. So where AA and the 12 steps helped me develop my relationship with God and help me rely on God, and that is the greatest gift I've ever been given. What I've been led to next is now to trust myself also as I walk with God, if that makes sense. As I walk the walk, like as I go through this life, and, I live and I learn and I grow. Now I'm not just going to do it where I make a mistake and then learn the hard way. It doesn't always have to be the school of hard knocks. And that's how it's been so far, where pain has been my greatest teacher. Suffering has been my greatest teacher. And I feel like a lot of you can identify I know I've talked to people who absolutely identify with things hurt and then I move. And what I'm learning with this wise path is with a little bit of self-inquiry and just really questioning questioning my thoughts and questioning my actions and following these instructions and applying them to my life. I mean, meeting myself with wise understanding and going about my life with wise intention and interacting with the world with wise speech and good words, wise action, doing the right thing, wise livelihood, still working on that, wise effort, not spinning my wheels, definitely still working on that one too. Wise mindfulness, wise concentration. I mean, this is the path out of suffering because this is helping me get out of my own way. This is the tools that I need to take what I did in a day and sit down at the end of the day and reflect and ask myself, did I practice, wise speech? Because when I sit down at the end of the day and I ask myself, like, was I kind? Was I honest? I can know immediately if I met each person as the person that I would like to be. And it's not to guilt or shame myself or to be fearful of, you know, repeating old behavior. It's just an opportunity to learn better and to do better. And you can't do that unless you sit down and you look and I ask, like, where can I do better? Where was I really harsh on somebody else, or where was I harsh on myself? Where did I um project my own fears or judgments onto somebody else based on my own insecurities? Where was I in my victimhood? That's a really common theme. A lot of us we're feeling like things are happening to us, and I feel like a big dose of some accountability, grabbing hold of a situation and going, how am I contributing to my own misery? Where's my own choice influencing my outcome? Am I choosing to interact with people? Am I choosing to, consume obviously alcohol or consume, substances, mind altering substances? And maybe that's not something that's very good for you. I mean, some people can handle it, but some people do it and then that's all they do. And then it's their go-to, that becomes their coping mechanism, that becomes their fallback. And, that's a slippery slope. It may start out innocent and it may start out just recreational, but then sometimes when the bottom falls out, then that's all we have, or our only support network is in the bar, and then when life gets lifey, when something happens, then that's our go-to to where we're just going right to that place. And then that has that substances, and then that's always there for us, and it is ingrained in us to want to escape. And the current world that we live in, it provides unlimited avenues of escape, unlimited. And it's normalized. They tell us that it's normal to drink alcohol, and it is normal to smoke weed, and it is normal to veg out on your phone or binge on Netflix. It's normal to be in these unhealthy relationships, these codependent relationships. All of these things are being presented to us. And it like normal, there's no such thing as normal, but just healthy communication is rare in my experience. Healthy experience and healthy just healthy living in general is the exception. It's not the rule. It's not going with the flow. It's like you're the outcast if you're the one, practicing these things. And I'm not saying that, you're better or you're worse, but man, you sure do feel different. And I think it's really unfortunate. And I also think that it's up to people who are doing something different like me to help, quote unquote, normalize these different ways of operating in the world. For me personally, I don't take drugs and I don't drink alcohol, and I don't have to live inside a meeting hall. I don't go to a meeting every day or even every week. My recovery, my um my sobriety, it is the most important thing in the world, but it looks completely different. It is a daily walk. It is everything that I do. So it doesn't need to be this rare thing, because not rare, but it doesn't need to be this, I don't know, like this big glowing red nose. It doesn't need to be like you're the Rudolph. I don't want to be the shiny reindeer. I don't want to be the sober bartender. I want it to just be a garden variety thing. And like, it's not yet. It's not, because in a world that's just obsessed with and numbing and coping with chemicals and coping with dysfunction, that's normal. And when you get off of the ride, you decide, I'm not riding this ride anymore, and you get off, you stand by yourself sometimes. But I feel like once you see the other side, you can't really go back. People do go back to drinking. I'm not talking about that. But when you know the feeling of being free after wanting to stop for so long and then actually doing it, um, I don't think it's ever the same. I mean, I went back to drinking after a period of sobriety, and it was a constant regret. It was 5 months of regret. And it was a struggle, and it was a lot harder to get back in the groove. So if you are in a period of sobriety and things are really good, and you're thinking that it maybe wouldn't be such a big deal, I'm just here to tell you that it's still a really big deal. It's still a really big deal to be sober and to be on the other side of something that can have such a huge grip on us. So stay in the light. Don't go numb. I talked to somebody, a friend the other day, who came to me, and things are a little rough at work and eviction notices, and they drank after 5 years, and I asked, are you still Are you still drinking? I said, yeah, but I'm gonna try to, knock it off here in a couple days. And I know how that goes. Once you get started again, it's pretty tough to not. I don't know what you're going through today, but I want to let you know that you are held and you are loved. And it is a miracle that we even exist. This is a great, big, wide world. And we are so fortunate to be a part of it. Everything that you are experiencing right now is temporary, including this beautiful life. So if you can, even if you have to dig really deep, I urge you to be grateful. Go deep into gratitude and let that fuel your day. Let it fuel your interactions. Let it fuel your thoughts. It's like a magic wand for your thoughts. It's just when when any kind of negativity starts to come in, just bust out 3 things that you are so deeply grateful for. The fact that the sun comes up, or that, I don't know, it's that the sky is blue, or, that you get to be a parent, or that you know, got to have parents, or that you have a car to drive, or that you have a phone that can do almost anything. I mean, you know, the possibilities are endless, but go to gratitude. I'm very grateful for you all. So, put out new episodes every Wednesday. If you are enjoying the show, I urge you to hop on either through Spotify or iTunes or Apple Podcasts. You can rate and review. That helps us get seen in the algorithm. That lets them know that people are listening and they want to hear more. And if you follow, subscribe, that'll let you know when new episodes come out. So I urge you to do that. And you are so loved, and I am so glad that you are alive. And I thank you for listening to these good words. I will talk to you next week.